Hi there, Andrew here. I love to be entertained, but I have no patience, so I give every new show I watch only one episode to hook me. Welcome to Debut Review. Today's episode is brought to you courtesy of super patron Jared, who recommended to me Oshi no Ko. I've heard of this. I hear tells people speak fondly of this show. I know zero about this show. I think it has something to do with like a pop singer or something. Uh, mm, I I haven't even looked at the poster yet, so, so I don't know what that looks like. But yes, Jared wanted me to do this episode, and as it turns out, I thought that was kind of an odd request. You want me to do a debut review for the first episode of an anime? And I looked at it, and the first episode's an hour and a half long. So essentially, I'm reacting to a movie. So Oshinoko, Dr. Goro, is reborn as the son. Oh, is it an isekai? Dr. Goro is reborn as the son of the young starlet Ai Hoshino after her delusional stalker murders him. He's reborn as the son of a young starlet after her stalker murders him. So there's a starlet. Okay, so there's our pop idol here. She has a stalker who kills a doctor who's then reincarnated as her son. Okay. Now he wants to help his new mother rise to the top, but what can a child do about the dark underbelly of the entertainment industry? Wow. I wonder if this is going to be anything like, what's that Satoshi Kon movie? Something Blue. Perfect Blue. Um, I could sit here and speculate, or I could watch the opening episode, which again is 90 minutes long, which is pretty uncommon for anime. So, all right, Jared, thank you for the recommendation. Of course, thank you for all your support with the Patreon and everything else. Let's take a look at the first episode, the first extended episode of Oshinoko. Jared, you bet your ass I'm gonna keep watching this. Wow. Um, yeah, I'll admit the first 5 minutes had me worried, because the Doctor Goro is an obstetrician. He works with childbirth. So he's a grown man, and he has a favorite idol, 16-year-old Ai Hoshino, I think her name is. And he's a fan, a very much a fan, in like a very creepy, very uncomfortable, very unseemly way. And I was like, oh no, show, don't, 90 minutes of this, come now. Um, and if I were to levy any criticisms at this show, and I will, um, I think they should have toned that down. Just pulled it. I don't think it's played for a joke. It's supposed to be funny, but Dr. Goro, the other character who I'll get to in a bit, is a idol super fan. So we didn't really need two. And he kind of chills out about that once he's reincarnated anyway. I don't mind that he's a fan, but he's a fan in like an uncomfortably creepy way. And kudos to his coworker who was saying all of her dialogue was like my internal monologue. That's what I was thinking the entire time. Also, while I'm on criticisms real quick, I think the woman, the wife of the talent agency manager who watches I's kids, I thought her character could have used a bit more development considering where she starts and where she ends up. not the biggest deal as she's not the focus, but I still think that could have worked. A little bit more character, a bit more of an arc there, some filling in. So, golly, how do I want to talk about this show? This is a great one to go in blind, because if you don't know anything about this, like where it's going, yeah, go ahead and give it a watch. It's 90 minutes out of your day, but if you don't like it, blame Jared. Because I take no responsibility for anything. So I'm going to be talking about the details of this show, and it's going to be spoiling what is the setup to the rest of the series. So that's kind of unavoidable. But I will say, just starting out, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to watching more. And for reasons that will become obvious once you see it or once you hear me talk about it, I'm actually really interested in the live-action series that I believe came out this year. Because I'm like, how are you going to do that in live action? I am morbidly curious. So, before I watched the movie, I read the description. I was like, is it like Perfect Blue? And yeah, it kind of is. And you're probably thinking, oh, but it's not quite that dark. No. Not quite. What this really reminded me of is Animation Runner Kuromi. This Oshi no Ko, at least the prologue, it looks like the rest of the series might have a different focus, but it's kind of like a marriage of these two, Perfect Blue and Animation Runner Kuromi. So spoilers for the first episode from here on out. This show, like Perfect Blue and Animation Runner Kuromi, is, in part at least, a critique of the entertainment industry in general, with a focus, of course, on the pop idol industry, with a lesser focus on just the broader entertainment industry, singing, dancing, acting, that kind of thing. It's clear that the creators of the show have 1 or 2 thousand bones to pick with the industry. From the business side, from what it does to the people who work in the industry, and what the industry, the kind of fans that the industry not only tolerates, but curates. It's ugly, it's depressing, it's terrible. But it's also art. It can produce an end product, and product's just kind of a scummy word, but at the end of the day, the sometimes literal blood, sweat, and tears can result in art that genuinely means something to at least one person, and sometimes many, many people. And that's not nothing. In fact, I dare say that's important. But are the various horrors that go into ending up at art worth it? Is it necessary? Do we need all of this crap in order to end up with art that people can enjoy? Me personally, I would argue no. And I'm getting the sense that the creators of the episode would argue no too, because holy biscuits, this is this is pulling back the curtain, and I mean, the show almost stops dead to pull back the curtain and rub our faces in what this industry does. And I'm being kind of vague here. So idols are, at least in Japan, and at least my understanding from watching a lot of foreign media, I don't live in Japan, so I have no idea. But as it's presented to me through the various media I watch, idols are just young pop singers who not just create music and concerts and music videos, but they also star in daytime dramas and commercials, and they do fan events where they go and shake your hand, and sometimes they'll guest on game shows and things like that, and they become this whole personality, which creates a fan base. And of course there are casual fans who are like, yeah, I like this person's music. I listen to it casually. I watch their music videos. They've got fun costumes and choreography, and it's fun, right? And then you've got really serious, dedicated fans who go to the shows and buy all the merch, and it's like, oh my gosh, I shook her hand and I touched her skin. If I were an anime, blood would spurt out my nose. And it's like, my God, man, that's just a person. Chill the hell out. I have no idea how true this is, but as it's presented in anime and, movies like Perfect Blue, the lives of these young women, and I would assume the male equivalent pop industry, because I know they've got that too. Rarely ever see it dramatized, though. These young ladies' lives are absolutely dictated and controlled by, their various managers and such. If you watch enough of this kind of stuff, you're probably aware of, idols aren't allowed to date. They're not allowed to get married. They're certainly not allowed to, be sexually active or have kids. That's a huge scandal. You'll never work in this town again. And if you don't live in Japan, or if you haven't watched a lot of this stuff, you may think, wait, what? Why? And yeah, who gives a shit? Apparently, the impression, again, I get from watching this stuff is that there are a lot of fans who take it upon themselves to assume ownership of their favorite idol. She is mine. And if she were to date somebody, or, settle down, have a family, get married, she's cheating on me. And some of them might react violently to that, which is sick and gross and disgusting and horrible. And the industry that these young women are involved in, the way it's set up, encourages and profits off of that behavior, even though it can turn deadly. You can get stalkers. People can get murdered. So, the show also talks about, and these girls, like the group that our main character here, starts in. When we're introduced, she's 16 years old, and she's in this group. And she's not just, she's got voice lessons, she's got dance lessons, but she's also 16. She's got school, And when they talk about it, it's like, yeah, they debuted 4 years ago. It's like, when she was 12? What the hell? And the show, to its credit, is a warts and all look on how this kind of stuff can affect the individuals who are people, which for many is really easy to forget, that our favorite entertainers are people, who pick their nose when you're not looking. Just people. And they're refreshingly cognizant about the fact that the idol persona is a lie. They know it's a lie. The whole, oh, we are just, we're here for you. We love you. We don't have lives. Our whole existence is for you. The smile, the I love you, all of that is fake. And they know that. And different performers will deal with that, like psychologically deal with that differently. The show also goes into the pressures that are put on very young performers. Like there's a very young actor who is in one of the scenes who has an emotional freak out because there's a lot of pressure being put on. I don't know how old she's supposed to be, 5. You know, it's disgusting. It's horrible. It's gross, and it's a fascinating look at this industry, while at the same time being really goofy in a supernatural way a lot of the time. Because if you recall back to the beginning of this video, the premise here is the doctor dies and is reincarnated as the idol's kid. And I figured it would do something similar to, what's it called? I'll use my magic appraisal powers to save the kingdom, or something like that. It's another isekai. A guy is reborn in some other place, but it takes a couple of years before, he has an adult mind, but it takes a couple of years before he grows up and is able to walk around and talk. This one, they start out kind of talking as babies, and they just have to, they're still in baby bodies, so they get real tired and have to sleep a lot, and don't really have great control of their bowels. But I keep saying she had twins. And I was watching the show, and I was like, ooh, I'm making predictions here. I know who the other twin is going to be, and I'm going to take a wild guess, and I'm pretty confident about this because it's really obvious, and everyone's going to be so impressed. But it's not really a secret. It's just revealed within like the first 30 minutes of the show. So, but I totally called it. You'll just have to believe me. I totally called it. So she has twins, and the doctor is killed by a stalker, and he's reincarnated as one. And the other twin is the reincarnated soul of another very young fan who passed away from, I don't know, cancer, maybe. So she's getting another shot at life. And for most of the show, the idea is the idol, she had kids. And she has to hide them. She has to hide her family, because that would destroy her career. Not just destroy her career, it's unspoken, but it's understood that there are some overzealous, shall we say, fans who will not react kindly to that information. Like, it's not just a matter of, I need to protect my career, so I can't let this information get out. It's, I need to protect myself and my family. I can't let this information get out. And when this is a genuine concern, like something that's not a surprise, systemically we've got a problem that might need fixing, right? So a lot of this show is babies walking around and talking and trying not to get caught by the adults. It's almost like Toy Story, right? The toys are talking and moving around, and the kid comes in the room, they're like, oh, drop where you are. It's that kind of humor. So the last 15 minutes or so, I've been talking about, this real sober look at this industry and what it does to people. And you have these babies wandering around, look who's talking-ing, right? However, for the most part, not entirely successful, but for the most part, that juxtaposition between this supernatural goofiness and this clear-eyed, sober look at the industry meshes pretty well. I think, like animation runner Kuromi, I think though the creators recognize all the faults and the just horror show that is the entertainment industry, there's an affection for art nonetheless, right? And that it's a weird dichotomy, right? It's like how can you know everything about this is terrible and it causes so much grief and trauma and harm. But damn it, I love music. I love dance. I love performance art. Humans are complicated and messy and weird, and this show leans into that. Most of our main cast, particularly are just broken people that are doing their best. um, it's clear from the get-go that is completely fronting. She's putting on a front. She's wearing a mask, and you find out what's behind it by the end of the show. And what's interesting is episode 1 is really appears to me to be just a prologue, a setup for the rest of, I think there's at least a second season. So there's a bit more to this to go, which really sets it. It time jumps by the end to the kids being, I don't know, high school age. Another criticism I can levy at it is they don't do a really good job of modeling the characters in a way that makes it clear what age they're supposed to be. Because we see these kids at 1 year old, 3 years old, a little bit older than that. We see at 12 and 16 and 20. We see, and some of the other characters, and they look almost exactly the same. Also, I don't like the star irises that has. That's something I see in modern anime frequently with really weird, obnoxious eyeball irises. I don't care for that. I mean, at least she doesn't have that stupid crisscross bangs thing that so many anime characters are doing nowadays. Although they do two really interesting things with it. One is one of the kids has the star in the right pupil, and one of the kids has a star just in their left pupil, and that's kind of neat. And then the second really neat thing they do with it is too much of a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil the very ending and what we're kicking off to do for the rest of the series. If you weren't thinking about watching it, but what I've said sounds interesting, I want there to be at least something you might not see coming. I saw it coming. You'll just have to believe me. Let's see, what else do I want to say before we get out of here? I had something else I wanted to mention. No, nothing else. So, that's it. I quite enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. So, Jared, thanks for being a patron, of course, and thanks for the recommendation. I'd heard of this, but I probably would not have checked this out without you, so thank you very much. And that's it for me. See you next time. Bye.